What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Russell, and here with another video. Today and probably going forward, I am going to be steering clear of the reaction videos unless something is really relevant to what's important to me. I probably would not be doing that. I have such a small channel that I probably don't even owe you guys an explanation on that. But there you have it. But today, I just wanted to talk about um, grief. I wanted to talk about grief. Um, Grief is something that has become a normal part of my life. Um, I'll start with my sister Danielle. She was born in 1982 and she went to heaven in 2018. And unfortunately, she went to heaven at her own hands. I know YouTube doesn't allow you to say the S word, so I'll just say at her own hands, but you guys understand what that means. Um, and on March 31st of 2018, my life changed forever. Forever. So much so that my life has is defined by before Danielle and after Danielle. And if you um, know anybody who is had a similar situation happen to them with somebody so close, their life really is defined by what happened before that day and what how they're trying to get on with life after that day. It changes you in a definite and a very profound way. Um, and It's still hard. It's still hard. But I'll start by just saying March 31st, man. I went out the door to work, and she took the day off. Found out that later on that she had actually had an appointment to see a mental health counselor. I did not know that she was having mental and emotional challenges, uh, but clearly she was in distress emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. And so I left that morning, and she was leaving as well. I said, "Hey, I love you. Have a great day. See you tonight." It was a Friday, Good Friday to be exact. And me, Danielle, and my mother were going to meet because we met, excuse me, every single Friday for dinner, kind of a family thing. And it was something that we always did. And so imagine my surprise, horror, not surprise, my horror when she was smiling and seemed upbeat that morning. Clearly, she was able to wear a mask like nobody I've ever known. But so I left that morning to work, got home, and I did not see my sister. Should have looked in the garage because her car was in there. Um, Something should have clicked for me because we had a dog, Angel, who's also in heaven now. That was the second hardest loss that I've had, believe it or not. Losing an animal is traumatic stuff. But yeah, so I got home at 5:15 or so and came in the house, didn't see anything, but I smelled a very foul odor. And I was like, man, what is that smell? Is that eggs? What's in the refrigerator? Check the refrigerator, nothing. Um, so anyway, I just went about my day, just like, okay, maybe she'll be on her way home shortly. She lived probably 30 minutes from home, so she got off at 5:15. So I figured she'd be there shortly thereafter. So I grabbed my laptop, went in the backyard, started just looking in the internet just to wind down from the day, and I still smelled this smell coming from the subflooring of the house. I can smell it right now. And my heart started racing. My heart started racing like I knew impending doom was near. I knew something wasn't right. And what really made it click and made me go check on her was the fact that we have a dog together. Actually, it was my dog, but Angel loved women, and so Danielle loved Angel, and if Danielle was home, Angel would no doubt be with her. And she wasn't with her. She was in the main area of the house. And so I'm in the backyard. I'm really about to freak out. And so I call my mom and I'm like, Mom, something's not right. And my mom knew immediately. She knew. I don't know how she knew, but a mother's intuition. But she knew something wasn't right. She told me to go in her room. I said, Mom, I'm not going in there. She could be in the shower. She said, Russell, if she gets mad at you, I will tell her that I told you to go in there to check on you, and that my mom would be the one to blame, not me. Clearly, you want to respect people's boundaries, and so if a person's in their room, in the shower, last thing they need is their brother or any male there you have it, unless it's their partner, barging in. And so I went into her room, and on her, and I won't go too much farther than this because I don't want to get this video struck. But I went into her room, and on her bathroom door, there was yellow caution tape in an X. And it said, Russell, do not come in here. Very strong chemicals. And now I'm freaking out, man. Oh, I'm freaking out. My heart is racing. Actually, I am going to tell the story. You know why? I don't care what YouTube does with it. People need to know that this taking your own life is traumatic in and of itself to the person who does it to themselves. But the family goes through hell immediately. I mean, immediately. It went from smiling to freaking out. All right, I'm going to keep going. And so I called 911. She told me to call 911 on a note that she left on the door. Do not come in here. Call 911. So that kind of makes me and my mom go back and forth when we talk about Danielle. Maybe she intended to do it. Or she intended to get some attention, or cry for help, that type of thing. So I called 911, and they said, I told them exactly what the scenario was. They said, get your dog out of the house. Do not go back in the house. So I grab my dog, and we go outside. And my neighbor across the street, I forgot his name, super nice guy, forgot his name, and he was like, I said, man, something's wrong with my sister, dude. And he said, I just saw her. We just spoke. Danielle literally spoke to my neighbor, and they were laughing and joking. This is crazy. Maybe they weren't laughing and joking, but it was pleasant. Let me just put it that way. It was pleasant. And I told him what had happened, and he went in there, and he came out. He came rushing out. He's freaking out now. And before you know it, my house becomes a crime scene. My entire block, probably within 30 minutes, there was 5 fire trucks, 3-4 ambulances, all police everywhere, and I'm out of it at this point. I'm living in a dream world now. I'm living in a dream world at this present moment. Not this present moment, but in that present moment. And so the fire team went in, and then they came back out, and then they put on hazmat suits. Then they put on hazmat suits. And I said, oh my God, what is happening? What is happening? So they went in, and they came back out about a minute later, and they had her body. She was upside down. Well, okay. So one had two, excuse me, there was four people holding her, one on each arm, one on each leg. Her head was back. I was standing in my neighbor's grass, and as they brought her out like this, I just face planted and just laid there. And I just laid there. And then the most insensitive shit happened. Not like what I'm experiencing is the craziest shit ever. But the fire marshal came over to me and he said, "Are you Russell?" I said, "Yes." "You're the one that called 911?" I said, "Yes." "You live here?" I said, "Yes." He said, "I'm sorry. Your sister didn't make it." Ah. Man. I don't think I've ever told a story that way. We're sorry your sister didn't make it. And I started tripping. And I called my mom and I said, "You need to turn around." We live in Southern California. She was, I don't know where she was at, what she was doing, but she started rushing over to the house. And that started 3 or 4 hours of just ridiculousness. And needless to say, that started my journey with grief. That started my journey with grief. Not just any kind of grief, traumatic grief. And so all that transpired. They told me not to stay in the house. I was like, I have to face my sister. I have to face her. When I say face her, like she went to heaven at her own hands in the house. And there was no way that I was leaving. And the officer told me, he said, had you gone in that bathroom, you would have taken one breath and you would have been gone immediately. Immediately. And in that moment, I was like, I should have went into that bathroom, because at that moment, I didn't want to live. I did not want to live. And I didn't want to live for a long time, to be honest with you. It took a couple of years for me to actually want to live again. And I don't mean just like live and thrive and yay. I mean, be alive on this planet. I didn't want to do that. And so the next day, I drove to my mom's. She lives about 30 minutes north of Los Angeles, 45 minutes north of Los Angeles. And been crying all night, and started driving up the hill, up the 14 they call it. They call it up the hill, but it's uphill. The 14 is a freeway. And I pulled over on the side of the road and just started bawling like a baby. Like a baby. And I just sat there for a long time. And then a police officer pulled up behind me for whatever reason to check, am I okay? Flat tire? Do you need us to call help? And he came up and he saw me sobbing. And he said, "I'm going to let you sit here. And I'm going to," and this is CHP, the Highway Patrol, not LAPD. California Highway Patrol. And I'm thankful for this guy. He said, "I'm going to drive you to your mom's. Not drive you, but I'm going to follow you to make sure you get there safely." And so I just rolled out and got to my mom's. And from then, it's been a whirlwind. It's been a whirlwind. Um, probably so. This was on Good Friday, and all my family obviously is freaking out. All of the family comes, and we have the funeral on my birthday, April 14th. So she died on Good Friday, had her funeral on April 14th, my birthday. And so those days are never really celebratory days for me. Maybe one day they will be, but at present, not certainly not the case. But and so that started my journey in grief. And like I said, when you lose someone to tragedy, specifically like that, it does something unique to you. And there was a lady, and her name is Jasmine. I won't give her last name, but her name is Jasmine, and she worked with this company called Diddy Hirsch, and they are a company that nonprofit, excuse me, that really focuses on those survivors of, I'm going to just say the word, I don't care, survivors of suicide loss. And so I still work with them today. But she reached out to me, and probably after the funeral, probably a week after, I was in intensive counseling with Diddy Hirsch. And thank God I did that, man, because I was alone. I mean, it was just me, my mom, and Danielle in California. The rest of our family's back in the Midwest. So I'm solo at this point. You know what I mean? My mom can't be of any help because she's going through the same thing I'm going through. And so thank God for Diddy Hirsch. I went through an 8 to 10 week intensive therapy, whatever you call it, group sessions. And then after that, then they had monthly meetings that I started to attend. But thank God that Diddy Hirsch showed up because it helped me to process, right? It helped me to process. And not just process my grief and my tragedy, but there's about like 15 other people in this group. And they were all just like me. Some 30 years, still going through counseling. Some 10 years. Some a month, 3 weeks to a month, just like me. Some a year, 2 years, three. I mean, and all manner of tragedy was in that room, from people dying the way that Danielle, and when I say dying the way that she did, in the manner in which she did. They have others who had, just imagine any way that a person could take their own life. Their family group was represented in these meetings. And that really helped me because I really started to lean on these people like you would not believe, because nobody understood what I was going through like them. And so after the 8 week session, 8 to 10, I don't remember which, 8 to 10 weeks. So after those 8 to 10 week sessions were up, I was on my own. Just 1 month meetings after that. Once a month meetings after that. And so, you know how, if you haven't lost a loved one, God bless you. Those of you who have lost a loved one, you know how it is when the funeral is over and everybody leaves and you're left with your grief by yourself. And I was in my own grief in our house by myself. And unfortunately, I really started to cope in an unhealthy way. I'll just say it that way without getting specific. I started to cope in an unhealthy manner on a regular basis. Uh, it was a struggle to get out of bed. I couldn't work. Um, I I couldn't work. I had to stop working. Thank God for my mom because she's a warrior. She didn't miss a beat. I think she went back to work. That happened on Friday. My mom went back to work on Monday because she had to stay busy. And I was in turmoil. And without going into any specifics, just imagine losing your sibling who you're supposed to journey through life with, and losing them in that manner. Imagine how one might uh, deal with the short term thereafter. And that was my life. And a lot's happened since then. I got married and then I got unmarried. I hate the D word, so I got married and I got unmarried. Clearly, I probably should not have gotten married. Not that the person who I married wasn't an amazing human being, because she is an amazing human being. I just, I should have gotten myself together before I made a leap like that. But you know what? Thank God for her, because she saved my life. She did save my life. Um, and you know what? When you're in grief, sometimes you need someone to save your life. Sometimes you need it. Sometimes you need somebody to say, nope, I'm not going to leave you alone today. Nope. Mm-mm. Sometimes you need somebody to just listen. Just to be a shoulder to lean on. Those people are invaluable resources when you are dealing with trauma and grief, especially on that scale. And so, uh, like I said, I got married and then unmarried. Um, and now I'm really like, I really value life in a way that I did not value life before. Thinking about how one is going to live out the remaining years of their life. And I said that I do not want to get to the end of my life and say that I worried about things that really didn't matter. And so the place that I'm at now is, obviously you have to have food, clothing, and shelter. So the practical things in life are a must. However, you have to do something for you. You have to do something for you. And let me share this. I didn't love myself. I didn't love myself. And so now I am really making it a point to give myself the attention that I deserve. I was listening to a podcast, um, and I forgot exactly who it was, but the host was talking about it, that when one does not love themselves, one should take the little boy or the little girl that is inside of them, that has lifelong experiences that have never been dealt with, and tuck them away in your heart. Tuck them away in your heart and care for that little person, that little Russell. Because I have wounds. Well, I could tell you some stuff. But to take care of little Russell. And God, I'm so thankful that I'm taking care of little Russell. And how am I doing that? I'm taking care of little Russell by checking in with him regularly. I talk to myself like a crazy person. I do talk to myself like a crazy person. But I journal like crazy. I love Audible. And so I listen to Audible. And as opposed to reading, where you would highlight, what I do now is I'll find a book that I love, and if it adds value to me, after I'm done with the book, I'll start all over. And I will sit with a pen and a pad, and then I'll go one chapter at a time, and I'll take notes on that specific chapter. And that way I have a resource to go back to when I am struggling or I need a word or a message. Sometimes you got to give yourself a word, and so that's a way that I sometimes give myself a word. What else do? I hit the gym every day, 2 to 3 miles every day. I lift weights every day. Really trying to get healthier. So in the past 3 weeks or so, I've been juicing, and it's made a world of difference in just the way that I feel internally. And I don't mean just internally inside of my physical body, but inside of my soul, my spirit. And it's so helpful. And what else do? I guard my circumference. A good friend of mine from back in the Midwest, she calls it her sacred space, and I've started calling it my sacred space. So I guard my sacred space with boundaries like a hawk, man. I don't mess around. I don't mess around. And unfortunately, like, I'm isolated right now, but I'm isolated because I need to be. I could reach out. I have people who love me. I have people who I love, but I'm isolated because I need to be, because I need to give myself the attention that I deserve without any external noise. Nothing coming from here. Well, Russ, you should just do this. Russ, you should just do that. Nah, man. I don't need that. I don't need that. Me and God. Me and God. And the resources that he puts in my path. But let me take it one step. I know this is a long video. I don't really care. You probably get 1 or 2 views. That's okay. But one thing that has been pivotal in my life is that I have been an active participant in my healing. Let me say that again. I have become an active participant in my healing. So that means the first year, 2 years where I didn't want to get out of bed, when I was living in unhealthy ways and coping in very unhealthy and damaging and destructive ways, I wasn't reaching out to anybody, nowhere on this earth. I blocked God out of my life, but now I'm an active participant in my own healing. And that's a word for you. If you are in a hard place in your life, change is not going to just happen. It does not happen. Yes, the Lord blesses, but you have to be available. You have to be available, and you almost have to pursue it. You almost have to seek it out. And I've sought it out. And sometimes in my seeking, churches, groups, things of that nature, for a while it didn't benefit me because I didn't know how to be available. I didn't know how to be open. And so the more that I kept at it, though, the more my heart opened up. My heart opened up. And when my heart opened up, my availability opened up. And when my availability opened up, miraculously, I started feeling better. And so I used to go to these churches, church hop, looking for a church that was going to solve my issues or solve my grief or help me or wrap their arms around me. And I swear I haven't found a church yet that can do the impossible. Let me say that again. I haven't found a church yet that can do the impossible. So I had to be available. I had to be open. I had to realize that what I was bringing into those experiences was had everything to do with what I got out. In graduate school, I took this course, HTML, that had a term called GIGO, garbage in, garbage out. So if you put garbage in, you're going to get garbage out. And I'm not saying that what I was doing was garbage because I was seeking, but my attitude was piss poor. My attitude was piss poor. The sky is always falling. Nobody loves me. Nobody cares. Oh, woe is me. Woe is me. Has anybody ever felt that way? Woe is me. Anyway, so I became available. And lo and behold, when I become available, now community has shown up. Not just community, the community that I need has shown up. And for that, I am extremely grateful. I still have a very small group because I'm very protective of my sacred space. But God, I can't tell you how thankful that I am. I can't tell you how thankful that I am just to be in the headspace that I'm at now. Because now I feel like sky's the limit. I'm in the last stages of grief. And grief does come in waves. It'll come and it'll go. Those holidays can be thick. It can be heavy. But generally speaking, I'm okay. I can smile again. Oh my God. It took me so long to smile. Maybe I'll start taking pictures again. I used to take a lot of pictures with me, Danielle, mom, and friends. And I was documenting my life because I loved my life. And when she went to heaven, I stopped documenting my life because I did not love my life. And so maybe I'll get back to taking pictures and documenting my life and so that I have memories that I could go back and reference in those days where I'm not feeling the best. So I'll close with this. I know God is with me. And there's something to be said for confirmation. So every morning I wake up and I'll read a passage out of the Bible. Sometimes I'll do a devotional. Sometimes I'll listen to morning meditation. Sometimes I'll listen to a sermon in the morning. I love sermons. I've always loved listening to good preaching. But this specific morning, today, I was doing my normal and feeling really good and went to the gym. And when I got to the gym, I set my stuff up on my treadmill. I went to the restroom, came back, and right on the shelf of the treadmill, anybody who runs on a treadmill knows that you can, place where you would put your cell phone, there was a little figure of Jesus. And it says, Jesus loves you. And I said, you got to be kidding me, man. Thank you. Thank you, Lord. I appreciate that. And so that's where I'm at. There's a whole lot of meat and potatoes in between, but that's kind of the short and skinny of where I'm at right now. Thank you all so much for taking the time out of your day to listen to me, share my heart and my faith with you. Please like, share, and subscribe. I'm going to be doing more videos that are meaningful. I was listening to Jordan Peterson this morning, and he said that it is a luxury to pursue happiness, but it is a moral obligation to pursue that which is meaningful. So, like, share, subscribe, and I'll start bringing you things that are more meaningful to me. And if they're meaningful to me and you like this video, you like the energy of the video, I'll bring more good value content to you. Thank you so much for your time. I hope you have a great night. And namaste. What do they say in namaste? The light in me sees the light in you, and hopefully vice versa. Holla at your boy. Peace.